Good morning. We had a pretty good night here by the stream. Had a little bit of babbling brook sounds. Did get a little bit of condensation this morning, but nothing too horrible. It is 6:55 a.m. I'm all packed up and ready to go. Today I think is fairly uneventful. We don't have any smokehouses or barbecue or anything like that planned unless we can find somewhere to eat. I guess we're just eating out of our food bag and walking north today. So I think it'll be about the same thing, just walking 20-ish miles and seeing where that puts us. And right now we're only 32 miles from Hikertown. So we gotta come up with a plan of attack for that and then the aqueduct after. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to walking. Do one last look at this beautiful spot. Here's where the trail comes up. We came from over there. All right. Check out this cave. I'm not much on caves. I'm not going in there. But it looks like it goes in there pretty deep. It is about 7:55. I've been hiking for 50 minutes. It's been all uphill until just now. On a pretty decent climb this morning. Been about 2.4 miles. And I'm trying this thing out again. I had tried it once early on and then just never messed with it because I have my sun hoodie. We were kind of slow getting out of camp today. We were gone by 7. Well, I was. But it was just me, Hammer, and Guardian. And then, let's see, who else was there? Short Circuit is a young guy. I think he's 20. He was still in his tent. And then there was one other tent across the creek. All those other people got up and left early today. I got a message from a subscriber a couple days ago. They were from Trinidad and Tobago. And it was a very nice message about how they're able to live vicariously through me on this journey. And they're struggling with some things with a child struggling with illness and just going through a tough time. They asked me if I would hike a couple miles in their honor. So I am doing that today. I've been thinking about y'all in Trinidad and Tobago this morning. And I'm going to turn the camera around and show you a view. I've been waiting for a great view. This view is for you. Look at that. It's a couple minutes before 10:30. The bugs are horrible. I found a spot in the shade here on starting this new climb, and I took a break, moved some water from my back bottles up to my drinking bottle, had a couple snacks. I'm gonna stay here for a few more minutes and then get to going. I gotta go about another 5 miles to get some water. I'm probably going to stop for lunch there, and that'll be like 12.6 for the day or so. I'll stop for lunch. So I'm gonna sit here a few more minutes and then get to walking. I got rid of the blue thing. I put it in my pouch. I'll use my sun hoodie here. So break time is over. Got to get to walking. And I was going to tell you. So back down that way, I don't know, 3/10 or so, maybe a half mile. There was a water cistern somewhere off trail. I didn't go look for it because all the comments say that it was full of poodle dog bush. The whole area is full of poodle dog, which is like poison ivy, but worse, I guess, from what we've heard. So this couple, who are probably not from this country, were standing there just staring into the poodle dog, and I said hi when I walked by. So the lady was ahead of the guy, and she just stopped up here and said, "Do you think about water?" Like, yeah, I think about water. I wasn't really sure what she was where she was going with that. So then she tries to tell me that I need to go backwards to get water. And I'm like, no, I got plenty of water. And I said, there's water in 5 miles this way, and I've got water, enough water to get me there. I knew about the poodle dog bush because it's in the comments and far out. So I carried enough to get through there. And she did not like my answer. She really wanted me to turn around and go back and get water where she got water. I don't know why. But I assured her I was fine. And then they kept walking. So, I don't know. I drank about 1 liter there, and I have just over 1 liter left to get me the next 5. So I will be fine. Anyway, I guess I better get this other next 5 miles done so I can have lunch. These bugs in the heat today are something. Such interesting and varied terrain today. This has a very Shenandoah-like feel. I've had a bunch of questions and comments lately about my mid layer, the blue one. That was not in my gear video because I was fully intending to wear a Senchi. But with the cold weather and the much colder than I anticipated forecast the week before we left, I switched out for the blue. And that's a Light Heart Gear fleece. I don't not supported by them. I'm not even really partial to the company. I just happened to find that at Trail Days last year on at AT Trail Days last year on a seconds rack for pretty cheap. I think a lot of companies are making similar ones, but that's what mine is. I do like it, especially for the price I got it for. But I do have my Senchi coming in my box at Kennedy Meadows. It's a good bit lighter, and I can actually hike in it when it's just a little cool. The one I've been carrying is really too hot to hike in, even when it's pretty cold out. So that's the answer to that question. This is the second big waterfall I've seen since I was chastised for not getting water. I just got some water at this water source. And let me tell you, today has not been overly hard, but the miles haven't come real easy. It's 11:38 a.m. I've only done 9.5 so far. Taking a couple of this water break, took the last break. It's just been kind of a slow day. I think because it started with a big climb and just because it's been so hot. And now I'm going to stop and look at this view. But I'm going to do another 2.5 or so, get to around 12, and then take a little bit longer lunch break. It is 12:15 and I stopped earlier than I planned. I'm only 10.7 in. I was hoping to get to 12, but I came to this big open parking lot and I was just ready to sit down. So I'm all spread out here on my Tyvek. I have my 1/8 foam pad cover my legs just to avoid some sunburn there. I'm eating some trail mix, probably gonna have a candy bar, drink some more drink, and just sit here for a while and then get to walking again. After I had lunch and baked in the sun for a while, I got up and packed up. I was about to text Hammer and let him know that I was going to go on and find some shade and I should meet him somewhere else later. And here he comes up the trail. He wondered what the heck I was doing baking in the sun. So that was a good question, but I was just tired and there was a flat spot, so I sat down. So Hammer said he already took one decent break but wanted to eat a wrap. We walked about 100 feet from where I was and there's a perfectly beautiful shade tree, so I guess I should have been here the whole time. Back on the move. I'm actually happy to be out of the woods and back out here in the open in the blowing wind, because back there in the woods, and there was about 2 miles that was just constant dive bombing of gnats. So I'm glad to be out to those. Now we are at 499.2. So you know what that means. We're going to be singing again here shortly. This has been an interesting day. I usually don't do a lot of sitting down or sit down breaks, and I feel like I've done more sit down breaks today than the last, well, I would say week, but we were in LA part of that time. Guardians out. Hammer is over there. He's got rashes on his knees. He got rashes on his eyelids. It's all broke out.
Is it from the poodle dog bush? I don't know.
Guardian's still down there having his break. Hammer and I are on the move, and we are 0.5 from singing a song. All right, there's like 500 drawn in dirt, but surely this isn't it. We've heard that the marker, the official one's gone, but there's got to be one better one. I'm going to show you this one, but we're not celebrating yet, even though the map says we're 500.1. All right, here's the 500 drawn in dirt, but I'm not taking my picture with that one. I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 just to be the man to walk 1,000 miles and fall down at your door. Ba-dum-ba, ba-dum-ba. Well, there you have it. I've walked 500 miles, and I'm gonna walk 2,150 more miles. Wow. It feels good to be at 500. I don't know, it's interesting because on the AT I was so emotional, especially at the 500, because in the year before I thru hiked, that's where I ended my long section hike of 500 miles. Yeah, no real emotions, just a little bit of relief to have the 500 down and ready to keep walking, I guess. Here I am live on location with Hammer. Hammer, how do you feel now that you have walked 500 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail?
You know, I feel pretty much the same as I felt at 400.
It is 5:30 p.m. The next campsite's a few miles listed on Far Out. We decided to come down this gravel road or dirt road, see if we can find somewhere to pitch a tent here. We did those bonus miles for nothing. We walked down the hill, looked around, couldn't really find anything decent, so we've come back up the hill and we're gonna carry on north. It is 6 o'clock. Got a view right here. This is the trail, and as we came around the trail, we realized there's part of an old road bed here. So I think we're gonna make this our home for tonight. I haven't looked yet, but Hammer said we did 19.8. Look at this. A bunch of skunks came right at us at our camp. We jumped up. We thought it was a porcupine at first, but then now that I'm done eating, let's talk about these skunks. So we're sitting here. Hammer's right over there. And all of a sudden we're hearing something right up here coming from these trees. From where he's sitting, after a minute he goes, "Oh, it's a porcupine." So I stand up and I see a black and white stripe. I said, "Are you sure it's not a skunk?" And he goes, "Oh, it is a skunk. It's a bunch of skunks." And I've never seen a skunk like that. Maybe it was like a crossbred skunk. I don't really think that, but it seemed like it. It had the big, huge tail, and then it had the 3 babies with it. So we stand up, and I'm starting to see visions in my head of this thing spraying my tent, spraying all Hammer's cowboy camping setup. So I had some trail mix in my hand. I know I shouldn't have done it. It's not leave no trace, but I threw some trail mix in that general direction. Luckily, they did turn, and then they took off down the road. Hammer went and watched them, and he said they just like scampered on down the road for as far as he could see. So that's interesting. So we are here all set up at camp, and it's been a really good night. One thing that I'm very pleased with the last couple days, at least early on in the hike, it seemed like where we were going to camp at night was already pre-planned. And I don't really like that. I kind of like to just roll with it and see where we end up. The last couple nights, last night, as you saw, Hammer and I, we rolled longer than we wanted to, but we found a decent spot. And then today we just happened upon this nice little spot. We still got in, I don't know why, it was a slow day as you've seen, but we still got in almost 20. I think it was 19.8. So we only have 12.2 to Hiker Town tomorrow. So looking forward to that. So have a good night, everybody, and come back with me tomorrow and we'll go to Hiker Town.